Alright, so we are going to continue working on finding those reference angles. We're spending a lot of time on this just to make sure that we have this down, we understand what a reference angle is, how to find it, all that good stuff. Alright, so first thing we do is we draw the angle that they gave us, 136 degrees. So that's positive, so I know I'm going to go up to 90, if it helps you to label that. Over here is well, not negative, I don't know where that came from, is 180, so we're not going to go all the way to 180 because it's only 136. So what we can do to figure out our reference angle alpha is take that 180 degrees, that angle measure on the x-axis, we're going to go ahead and subtract out the 136 to see where our angle should be. So 180 minus 136 is 44 degrees. What that means is that from the x-axis, if I go 44 degrees into the quadrant, that's just about halfway, that's where that angle is going to be. So here is the angle of 136 degrees, but the reference angle alpha is 44 degrees. So in this case, I found the reference angle before I finished drawing my angle, just so I knew where to put it, how far away is it from the x-axis. Alright, so example 3, negative 128 degrees. Again, let's sketch out our angle. This time it's negative, so we're going down. If I go down, that's a negative 90. This is a negative 180, so that tells me it's going to be past the negative 90 and into this quadrant. So how far into that quadrant does it go? Well, that reference angle in the third quadrant would connect to this x-axis. So again, I'm going to use that 180 degrees. I'm just going to use the positive 180. I'm going to subtract out 128 to see how far away they are. So when I do that, I get 52 degrees. That's a degree symbol. So what that means is that from the x-axis, because I used 180 degrees, if I go 52 degrees into the quadrant, so that's just over halfway, this is where that negative 128 degrees is. We wanted the reference angle, so this connects to the x-axis, and that's what we just found up here, that 180 minus 128. So we have a 52 degree reference angle. So you can approach getting your reference angles in a couple different ways. Sometimes that's what I do, is I find the reference angle first once I figure out which quadrant the angle is going to be in. Once you know the quadrant, then you can figure out, well, how far off from the x-axis would it be? And that's what the reference angle tells us. Alright, last example, negative 240 degrees. So negative, we're going down, so that would be a negative 90. This would be a negative 180. This would be a negative 270. So that just helps me see that this angle is going to be in the third quadrant, because negative 240 is between negative 180 and negative 270. So drawing the angle, I go this far and then I say, well, how far into the third quadrant is it? So what we do is we take our number and we subtract it with the x-axis value. So I'm going to take 240.8. I'm going to subtract out 180 degrees. Even though these are negatives, I'm just using positives to help me get that reference angle. That's going to give us 60.8 degrees. And that is the reference angle, but I want to show you how we can use that to draw our angle. So from our x-axis, if I go in 60.8 degrees, so that's just about 2/3 of the way, that's where this angle is going to be. Now the reference angle goes from the terminal side to the x-axis, so this is our reference angle. That's alpha, and that is 60.8 degrees.